What's up, everybody, and welcome to Spectator Mode episode 34. It is 34, right? Yeah, because we did 33 last week, so it's definitely 34, unless we're skipping. As always, I'm your host, Keith Mitchell, and joining with me is Diego Perez.
What's going on, man?
There he is. What you been up to?
Oh, man. Video games. One of them good, one of them bad, but we're going to get into that in a minute.
All right, and then we have Rob. Rob, what's going on, sir?
What's up, fellas? Destiny 2. Sorry, spoilers.
Yeah, so this is going to be a pretty heavy Destiny 2 podcast towards the end. That said, we're not going to do our normal what have you been playing segment because pretty much
Destiny.
everybody here has been playing
Yeah.
Destiny 2 for at least 9% of their gaming time this week. For good reason, but we'll get into that at the end of the show. All right, so we're going to jump right into the topics. First and foremost, there was an article put out today about Microsoft or Mixer bringing over Ninja from Twitch over to Mixer, and a lot of that was basically people were assuming that Ninja was going to bring over a large majority of his followers and bring more people to the platform, while others didn't think that was the case. I never thought that was the case, and I know we've talked about this in the past, but there's just something I wanted to point out that apparently isn't very obvious to people. And excuse me if I lose my voice because apparently my throat doesn't want to cooperate with me. One of the biggest things that Mixer has going against it right now is the fact that it is not native on the largest console market share right now. That's PlayStation 4. You cannot stream to Mixer on a PlayStation 4 without the assistance of a computer or a capture card, which is a big negative for Mixer.
Is it really, though? Do you think
Yeah.
so? Because,
Yeah.
like, I feel like most streamers that are, like, worth watching and the ones that are going to bring traffic to the platforms have, like, computers and capture cards already. Like,
You
if I
got
see
the
somebody...
established ones. You got the established ones are the ones that are willing to put the money in to get started. But if you ever go to watch Twitch, there's a lot of people that just stream right from their PlayStation 4s.
Yeah, but they all have, like, 0 to 1 viewers, and I don't stay on those streams for longer than maybe 20 seconds. I feel like that's not... Those are just there for, like, getting bigger numbers as far as streamers go, but, like, that's not meaningful content, I don't think.
But they're still there. That's the whole thing. It's still people streaming on the platform. It's
Yeah.
not talking about the viewers, talking about a number of people actually doing the streaming. Compared to Mixer, you don't have those people. They're not in the equation because they can't stream to Mixer. There's other obvious reasons. No, Mixer doesn't push. They don't push the right. I don't want to say it's the wrong way, but it's going to sound the wrong way. As long as I've been on Mixer, as long as I've been following them and talking to some of the developers and looking at what they've been going, they're not pushing the right narrative. They're not trying to pull in crowds of people. If you look at their daily numbers, they're consistently low. They're likely lower than Facebook, which is weird. They're definitely a lot lower than Twitch. Their participation is just not there. As much as they're trying, Twitch has the market share. Obviously, Twitch is a giant, and Mixer is still relatively new in the whole streaming thing. But there are certain things they haven't done in the past they could have done, and they're starting to do those things now, but it's kind of too late. And I guess people thought that bringing over Ninja would bring in, bucket shares of people, and that's just not going to happen. He is not the predominant streamer.
Yeah, he's not even Twitch's biggest face.
Yeah, and he only streams. Well, he used to only stream just Fortnite. And as big as Fortnite is, that is not the biggest game out there. There are tons of games that dwarf Fortnite. And like you just said, he wasn't the biggest streamer on Twitch. He simply was not. I mean, as much as you hate the guy, and I just can't stand him, look at Dr. Disrespect. He's one of the biggest ones.
Yeah, we still have people like Shroud and all them on Twitch.
Yeah, yep. You got all of them over there. And they play a plethora of different games. So Twitch still has their streamers, and they will push their streamers, and they even push up and coming. Twitch is constantly trying to change the game up by offering something to somebody else. As much as I don't like their practices and how they don't enforce things when they should, and how they screw over smaller streamers, they're doing something right to keep all the people over there.
The thing with Twitch is like it's the same way Steam is. Like it was pretty much the only thing, and then it got so massive, and now there are finally other platforms coming out to try to compete with it, but they're still so new, and like I don't know what people were thinking with the whole Ninja deal, but like, were people honestly thinking that Ninja coming to this platform was going to like triple numbers overnight? Because I feel like Ninja coming. There's a reason they didn't go for Shroud or Dr. Disrespect or anybody else. They went with Ninja because he's a face. He's a marketable person that people know. Like this is,
Right.
it's a power move. And even though it's not going to have numbers, we're talking about Mixer a lot more often just because they have Ninja. Like this is the start of something. I feel like how long has Mixer been around? When did they rebrand that service to Mixer?
2 years ago.
Yeah, it's still super, super new compared to Twitch. Like, and they're just now now they have people comfortable with the service and people know what it is. They're starting to push it now, and it's like a big next gen thing. We're coming up on a new generation of consoles. Like, this is Mixer's obviously going to have Xbox integration with whatever the new console is. Like, they're finally starting to push it. Like, it's still really small in comparison to Twitch, but it's growing.
Yeah, my thing is that they almost kind of made this deal too late. And maybe it's just because they were trying to hammer it out or whatever. But honestly, it could have been a good move when Fortnite was definitely more relevant than it is now, or even when they made the announcement initially. Because even when they first announced it, that video came out on his Twitter and stuff. Like it was already at the point where Fortnite was kind of like going down in relevancy. It had already gotten past the point where several Fortnite people were complaining about the balance changes that they made. People were hopping onto like Minecraft and streaming other games and stuff. Like this had already happened. It had already gotten to the point where Fortnite was losing numbers because of this. And it was almost as if this announcement and this deal came out kind of at a point in time where Fortnite was at the lower end of relevancy like the lowest relevancy it had always had. It had gotten to a point where like a large percentage of people didn't care anymore, and the fact that they moved over, granted they did bring some people to Mixer, but like people came to watch Ninja and they were going to do it on Twitch and then they were going to do it on Mixer anyway, so it's not like it mattered a whole lot.
Yeah,
I still think like they're not trying to pull numbers with this. I think it's still a publicity stunt. They went with Ninja because like, he might not pull the most numbers, but he is the face of streaming at the moment. Like, regular people know who Ninja is. That's a household name at this point.
My mom knows who Ninja is.
Yeah, like, my parents have asked me about this Ninja guy, and I'm like, okay, he plays Fortnite. Like, this is not a numbers game to them right now. Otherwise, they would have gone for, like, Shroud or something.
Can I just say, when my mom asked me about Ninja and started talking about this guy she saw on TV, I went, wait, what? Wait, you're the person who didn't want me playing games at all, and you're asking me about him? Really? Okay, Mom. That's the presence that he has. His face is everywhere. Everybody knows who he is.
Yeah, he's huge, and that's why it's a publicity thing for Mixer to have Ninja, because they can say, "Oh, we have the face of streaming right now." It's not gonna put them neck and neck with Twitch overnight, but it's the start of something. And I feel like if they would have put their money in other places and said, we're going to start trying to compete with Twitch in more and more ways, it wouldn't have gotten headlines like We Got Ninja did.
Yeah. And again, a lot of the stuff in the background, he said, and his wife also said that Twitch basically pushed him away from the platform. They were confining him to only playing Fortnite. He wanted to do other things. They pretty much said no because they were pushing him, and he had enough and left. So it's weird. Again, Twitch won't change the way they are, but at this point, do they really need to? I mean, they should.
Too large. Yeah, they definitely should. I think Twitch is pretty much an awful company, but they're too large, and they're the go-to place. It's like Steam. Like, this is where you go to watch video games being played live and other events now.
I mean, I can't stand them. I watch some people on there, but just in principle, I refuse to stream on Twitch anymore. I had a channel. I had a pretty nice channel. I dropped it. I was like, I'm just not going back there. Not that I have time to stream as
Twitch
much as I used
has
to.
so many issues. And I'm looking at this pie chart here in the article for Ninja not growing Mixer. Twitch has 75% of the hours watched per platform in the most recent quarter.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's huge. And that's with Twitch, Facebook, Mixer, and YouTube. Like, YouTube is a giant, and that's only 17.6%. Twitch is like this gargantuan entity that, like, I really don't understand when people thought Ninja coming to Mixer would just totally change the game up. Because
I mean, there are streamers that were signed to Mixer in the past, Renee being one of them, who ended up going back to Twitch because she wasn't getting the numbers and push like she thought she was going to.
Yeah, because it's so small compared to Twitch. That's the problem. And if you already have an established fan base on Twitch, there's no reason to switch unless Mixer offers you that exclusive contract like they give to Ninja.
And then even in this case, she went back. It just wasn't enough.
Yeah. And even on like the marketing side, it's just like they've been too quiet anyway. Like this one big announcement, that was pretty much it.
That was one of my biggest things when they came out and they rebranded, and when I talked to them and I said, when are you going to start advertising your stuff more?
Exactly.
When are you going to start letting people know who you are?
Yeah.
They still don't do this.
Yeah, it's insane to me because like Twitch will like come around, like they'll post clips every once in a while of like themed clips of like Halloween, people getting scared from their Twitch streams or whatever. You know, there's like, you know, popular streamers reacting to, you know, like new character releases in fighting games, like video game trailers. Like they just like, you know, get like a highlight reel of other streamers reacting or doing things, and they just put that out there. It's like a simple concept, but it gets more revenue, more people watching on Twitch than it does on Mixer, who just doesn't seem like they're doing anything like on that front at all.
And then all the things that Mixer had that made them look better on paper, the technology they had, like they were the first one to come out with co-op streaming or co-streaming. Now Twitch has it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like Twitch is starting to push more and more of these features now because they're starting to realize that Mixer might actually become a potential threat in the future.
You know, they also had the faster than light. And then Twitch came out with their technology that was similar, not as good, but close.
It's good enough for like people to not leave Twitch.
Yeah.
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 I still think the problem with Mixer is Microsoft, because the way they're pushing Mixer is the way they've been pushing the Xbox One this generation, I feel, is that they're providing all these great services and all these great features for the gamers and the consumers, like Xbox Game Pass and things like that. But like the Xbox One is still trailing far, far behind the PlayStation 4. I think that analogy works with Twitch and Mixer. It's the same kind of thing. But I feel like once next gen rolls around and like there's a dramatic shift in the way things are happening, they're going to push Mixer a lot harder. Because they have the features and they have the quality, and I think Mixer is a far superior platform to Twitch, and they laid the foundation quietly this generation, and they're going to come and surprise everybody next gen, I think.
I really hope they do, because again, I really like Mixer. I've streamed on there for quite some time. I think the requirements are a lot better if you want to become a partner. I think the platform itself is a lot better. The people on the platform, there's less toxic people on there. And when you do find somebody that's toxic, it gets handled pretty quickly. It's not like Twitch. Not at all. They have, I don't want to say zero tolerance, because I have seen some issues, but typically they take care of those issues pretty quickly.
Yeah, Twitch, you can have blatant animal abuse go viral on Twitter and they don't do anything about it. So
yeah, or the grocery store.
Yeah, or Dr. Disrespect screaming in a bathroom.
And I still don't understand how that guy does not get any jail time. I'm just like, okay, whatever. That was federal law. Well, okay, whatever.
Yeah, but I think this competition between streaming services is like getting in a really interesting place, because it has been Twitch like in the past, but now we have Mixer coming up. Facebook Gaming's making some really interesting moves, and like I feel like YouTube, even though they're done. They abandoned YouTube Gaming, but I still feel like they have some things coming up their sleeve.
I don't think YouTube cares anymore, because they have their big stars, because they tried all these different initiatives and then they dropped every one of them. I don't think they care anymore.
But like YouTube is still the place to go for like VOD content, on-demand audio content.
Yeah, pretty much.
Live. And I feel like they have ways they can still grow that, even though YouTube has pretty much just been YouTube for these past few years. I feel like they have ways to grow that, just like Twitch and Mixer are trying to expand the live game.
Now, one of my biggest issues with with Mixer also, and I've talked to them and I've asked them this, and they have said nothing about this. When you stream on Mixer, you obviously get a VOD, and that stays there for just 14 days.
Twitch VODs are there for like ever, right?
Forever. You can sign up to Twitch even if you don't pay for it. It's there forever. Forever.
Yeah,
that's Mixer, both,
I think.
Both the free and the pro that you pay for, 14 days. And then it's gone. And then downloading the videos takes forever. It doesn't rename them properly. It's a mess. It's been a mess since day one. It's gotten better, but it's still really silly. There's no way to to port them to YouTube either. You have to download them, then re-upload them.
And I'm assuming you have to use something exterior from the program too, right? So like, you have to get your own like kind of third-party stuff.
For what?
Download the link.
No. There's a download. There's a download.
They do actually. Okay, all right.
Yeah, they do that, but it just takes forever. For example, if you download 2 different videos, you can't rename that video. It just goes download. And it's like, and their names are so cryptic. It's like, which one is which? I don't know which one is which. Yeah, they need to.
Well, I don't know if they have to like make the VOD stay on there forever, but I think at least an export to YouTube button would be greatly appreciated. Yeah. Because like, I don't know about the majority of the people, but I don't go to Twitch to watch VODs. If I want to see archive streams or VODs, I go to YouTube and I look for like whoever the name is live or whatever, and I go look at highlight reels and VODs like that. I don't if I only go to Twitch to watch live content. Really, same for Mixer. I don't necessarily go to a channel and click on videos.
I don't have a problem with the VODs on the free version, but if you're paying for
it, you should definitely keep them either forever or let you export them in a much more efficient way.
Yeah, 14 days for paid. It's just like, why am I paying for it then? There's no point.
I wasn't even aware you could pay for Mixer Pro. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yep. And even the partners, it doesn't stay on there very long. So it's, and this is Microsoft. This is a company that has the biggest cloud infrastructure on the planet. And you can't spare a couple terabytes for people to save their videos.
Yeah.
I just think it's not that big of an issue for them to like completely go at it right now whenever they're still such a small platform. Yeah. I feel like that once that push happens that I was talking about earlier, once they start pushing this really hard, that's when we'll start to see these issues get reformed.
I mean, just looking at the stuff that Twitch does offer, again, with the VODs, and you can make playlists, so when you're not on, it'll still show your content. The highlights. I just think that Twitch has more of an offering than Mixer. And Mixer could easily do what Twitch does because everything that Mixer has done, Twitch has already taken. They redesigned the website to be more similar to what Mixer's old format was. They've taken the co-streaming option, the faster than light option. So it's no different than iOS and Android. They copy from each other. There should be no difference here. But the thing that Mixer is missing is, yes, you're not pushing this, and you're not advertising. You're not getting to the front. Only thing people know about Mixer, other than people that are engraved in gaming, is, oh, they have this ninja guy. That's it. Not to beat a dead horse, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's still like a super, super new service relative to everything else, and I feel like they're waiting for the right time to push everything. Like
they're like the present.
Well, yeah, but like you can't exactly come out and just. Okay, well, you can come out and market your product right off the bat. That's typically how it goes. But I feel like if you're trying to develop a quality platform, you need to let it speak for itself for a while, and then you come and hit hard with all the new features and mechanics and things like that.
They could at least do a commercial on TV.
Does Twitch even advertise on TV? I feel like those are completely different audiences.
No, I thought they did. Once upon a no, I don't think once upon a time. Let me just check that.
Think that. I feel like if Twitch said that, that's the wrong place to be advertising. Because I'm not going to watch a commercial during the football game on Sundays and see, oh, Twitch, I'm going to go watch Fortnite being streamed. I don't feel like those are the same audience necessarily.
Yeah, there actually were a couple of Twitch commercials. Go figure.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like streaming services are at an interesting crossroads. Because we're because social stuff like this and streaming video games blew up this generation. And it feels like it's been a thing forever, but it's really only been a thing once like streaming integration became more and more common in like consoles and like there's a share button on the controllers now.
Exactly, it became a lot easier, more accessible for people, and that's what I was talking about with the whole thing with being on PlayStation. New, you know? It's there, and that's always going to be a disadvantage. And so PlayStation, and I talked to Mixer once upon a time ago, and I asked them, and they were like, "We would love to be on PlayStation, but it's not up to us."
I feel like next gen Sony will come around with that because they kind of have to with Mixer growing the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's not competing against them. They don't have a streaming platform. What do you care?
I just think the reason Mixer's not on PS4 right now is that whenever the PS4 controller was developed and the share button was there, it was YouTube and it was Twitch. Mixer really wasn't a thing, and they just haven't bothered to go back and update it because I feel like social stuff on PS4, like Share Factory, is kind of taking a backseat to everything else this generation.
Impossible. All right, so Mixer, we love you.
Yeah.
I love you. Get better, please. We want you to get to the forefront. You're not going to overtake Twitch, but we want to see some more of that competition there. All right, gentlemen, moving along. Let's see. We've got Rob. Actually, you know what? No, we're not going to talk about that yet. Let's talk about an announcement that came out today.
Yep.
And we kind of figured it was going to happen. The signs were there. And the launcher came out, last week from Rockstar Games?
Yeah,
last week?
Really recent.
Yeah, it was very recent.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was recently.
So now Red Dead Redemption 2 is officially coming to the PC on November 5th. It'll be available on Rockstar Games Launcher and also on Epic Game Store. And it will be out on Steam in December of 2019.
Yeehaw.
So first and foremost, I have this on Xbox One. I've never played it. I was holding out hope for this game to come out on the PC. And here it comes. It's finally coming to the PC. As one of our coworkers would say, a year later, which is how Rockstar operates. Because it did the same thing with Grand Theft Auto 5. It was like a year, wasn't it, before it came to the PC?
Yeah, they waited for the next gen version pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came out at the same time the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One came out. So, gentlemen, what do you think about this announcement? Do you care? Is this big news for the PC players? Are they in for a treat or what? Because I haven't played it yet.
I think so, for sure. I mean, this game's amazing, especially if it's like, you're a strictly PC player and you've never played Red Dead Redemption, like the first one, then like this will be like a brand new experience, at least in terms of like genre-wise, thematically wise. Like, can't really think of any other major cowboy game that's come out in recent years that's been multi-platform, or at least like other than console.
I can't think of any other cowboy games, period. There aren't any.
There was like one cowboy MMO, I think, that came out years ago that got like barely any buzz. I don't remember what it was called. But anyway.
Oh wait, yeah, I do remember that game. They were saying it's just like Grand Theft. No, like Red Redemption. What the hell was that?
Yeah,
I remember that game. Was it Wild West Online?
Yes, that's what it was. That's what it was called. Yeah,
and nobody knows what it is anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody.
But anyway, it's super exciting. People should be excited about it because
this is one of the greatest games ever created.
Yeah, it's an experience. It truly is. I mean, it's not even like, it doesn't even feel like GTA in the sense that it's just like a third person shooter chaotic thing. It's literally an experience. It's a simulator almost. Like the amount of attention to detail is insane, and it's really exciting because I can't wait to go back and play it again. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna be playing it for the third time. This game pushed the medium forward in so many ways. Like, this is a must play.
I'm so excited about the graphical leaps. As my friends would say, I'm a frame rate whore, and I will be that because I'm all about the visuals. Being able to push this game at 4K or even 1080p, 60 frames per second or above, unlock frame rate, even 1440p. It'll be nice to see.
Yeah, the frame rate's going to be the big deal because on One X it's native 4K and that game is gorgeous. Like,
and
it's
the
a substantial upgrade over PS4 Pro, I believe. Like, the One X is like another level visually.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing when it hits the PC. This is the PlayStation 4 Pro, this is the Xbox One X, and then over here is the PC. And
I don't think the PC version is going to be that different from the Xbox One X version.
I don't know.
I think it'll be like slight improvements at most because the One X is pushing that hardware super hard. And the One X is pretty powerful graphically, I believe. Like, that's a top of the line piece of hardware right there.
Yeah. I wouldn't call it top of the line hardware.
I think they're going to add in quite a few, well, not a whole lot of features, but enough, kind of like what they did with GTA 5, where I think it came out natively with an FOV slider. Like,
yeah, there'll be PC stuff like that. Like, GTA 5's PC port is pretty decent, I think.
But yeah, they're definitely going to push it a lot more. I'm sure they'll have specific settings that you can kind of tweak to make it look just beautiful.
Yeah. It's just, I think that people are expecting the kind of leap that GTA 5 had from PS3 to PS4 whenever that launched. Like, because on PC, GTA 5 is like gorgeous. It's a good looking game. But that came with the leap from the next gen versions as well. So I feel like people are expecting a lot from this PC version when it's probably just going to be a souped up version of the current editions of Red Dead on PS4 and Xbox One.
I think what's happening is a lot of people are looking at that, but they're looking at the way that Grand Theft Auto 5 looks right now. Have you seen the game with some of the mods and the shaders that people are using with the game? Some of them look photorealistic.
Yeah, but that's mods though. That's always going to happen with every game.
But that's the big thing, and that's what I'm looking forward to, the whole modding scene to get a hold of this game and just change everything with it. Anytime a game comes to the PC, I always want to see what kind of mods they do with the game. Yeah. Because they're usually really cool things.
And just as an aside, we're probably going to see some really good ones because the game, enough on its own, looks beautiful. Oh, so to see them improve on that to make it even better, it's going to be insane.
I wouldn't be surprised to see an Undead Nightmare mod. Because Rockstar's not going to do that. Someone else will. Yeah.
Somebody was working on a Red Dead mod for the PC, and they killed it. Rockstar was like, "Nope, you can't do this."
Rockstar doesn't really like
that's
modding
the
their
thing,
games
because they were teasing a little bit because I think there was like photos of some like zombie-like characters in the online mode.
Yeah, there was some stuff going on with like corpses.
My guess is they're doing like a Halloween event. I don't think it's like a full expansion or anything.
They've said they're not doing single player stuff, but I would not put it past them to do an Undead Nightmare Online limited time event kind of deal.
I'm sure that's what they're doing now, so that's probably why they nipped the butt on that one because they're Probably doing it themselves.
Yeah, speaking of online, I feel like this PC release is going to do wonders for Red Dead Online because it's kind of been taking a backseat to everything else this year as it's been coming out of beta, as it's been finding its foothold. It got its first like meaningful content recently with the specialist roles, but like I feel like the people that stream and promote GTA 5 online do so on PC. I feel like once Red Dead Online hits PC, it's going to blow up in ways that I feel like are going to be great for that game because people are writing off Red Dead Online in an unfair way, I think, because it offers such a unique experience. It's not just a clone of GTA Online.
Yeah. It's also like, I think they're going to run with a similar structure that they did because when, they went from like 360 PS3 to PS4 Xbox One, like the multiplayer was as bare bones as it could have been. And I mean, Red Dead Online now is much further than what GTA 5 was like on last console generation. So I think they're already a step ahead in terms of the way it was before. They're going to kind of structure it so that once it comes out on PC, then they're really going to start to branch out and create like an experience, kind of like GTA Online became over time. They're definitely going to make it so that there's a ton more structure. They're going to create more like subsystems, like you start your own, posse, but then all of a sudden you can get a hideout that you can build, and then stuff like that. Kind of like how you could get an apartment and build your own business in GTA 5. They're gonna work towards that, but they definitely are like starting off on the right foot and could easily get to that sooner than we expect.
Yeah, they learned a lot from GTA Online, and I think that's really helping Red Dead Online in terms of like what kind of content to add, what works in an online space like this.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption are console games, but GTA Online and Red Dead Online are going to be PC games, if that makes any sense. Because like, they launch on their. I feel like the single player portions of these games are primarily aimed at a console audience, but like the multiplayer components are 100% aimed at streamers and people who play on PC just because of the things you can do. Like GTA 5 roleplay is huge on Twitch. I feel like that's caused like a ton of game sales for GTA Online.
I would have to wait and see, but yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one because the online component brings a whole different perspective to the game.
It's a standalone game, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a living, breathing single player game with multiple people. So yeah, I definitely think that'll be the case when it does eventually come out for the PC.
Yeah, one thing I do want to say about PC players who haven't played this game yet. That'd know this game is a prequel, all right? But listen to me. If you play the first game before you play this game, everything in the story will hit 10 times as hard. Like it's still a great story on its own, and I feel like Arthur Morgan is the single greatest video game protagonist of all time. He's that good. But like I feel very strongly about Red Dead Redemption. I feel like that duology of games is probably one of my favorite stories told in any medium ever. You can play the first game on PC through PlayStation Now. You can stream it. I know that's not ideal. Streaming video games is not where it needs to be right now, but at least watch a story recap or a let's play or a summary or something. Do not go into Red Dead Redemption 2 without experiencing the first game in some way, shape, or form. You will thank me later.
I think it's backwards compatible on Xbox too.
And it plays in 4K, and it's gorgeous. Yeah. But if you don't have access to a console, there are methods of getting this done.
That's true. You can also stream PS Now on your PC.
Yeah.
So, sure can.
Just don't go into that game blind. That's all I'm going to say.
Streaming thing.
Yeah. There's really important context. I agree 100%.
All right, so you're basically telling me I need to stop playing Destiny 2 and play this game now? Are you telling me
you have time. You have time. It comes out in a month. Like Red Dead 1's not that long. You're good.
It's very substantial though.
All right.
Cool.
It's there's a reason, even though it's a prequel, it's called Red Dead Redemption 2 because like it builds off the first game in so many ways.
All right, well, Red Dead Redemption 2 coming to PC on November 5th, Epic Game Store, and also on a Rockstar Launcher, and December 2019 on PC, which will likely be either December 4th on Steam, or December 5th. What did I say?
You said on PC.
What's PC? Okay, goddamn it, can't say it anymore. On Steam. I'm so used to just saying on PC.
Yeah,
and I was like,
man,
which
the landscape
one?
Has changed so much, hasn't it?
Which one? Oh God. One of these platforms. I don't know which one.
It's out somewhere. You can find it.
Yeah, go look for it. Go Google it. You'll find it. Ask Alexa or something. Who knows? All right, Rob, this is all you. You've been following this one, sir. So the WGA and the Game Awards show is having a little bit of a lever spat. What's going on there?
Yeah, so it's a little weird timing wise, and specifically what they're kind of doing. So basically the Writers Guild of America confirmed that they're suspending the video game portion of their awards ceremony, I guess indefinitely, because they had said and I quote, "There won't be a video game award in 2020 when there is a critical mass of video games covered by the WGA in order to provide a meaningful award selection process," which basically just means that they don't feel that there's enough video games out there for this award to have a proper selection process. But there's a little bit of nuance to it, considering how a game would even qualify for the WGA awards. So it's a little weird. Basically, they're just dropping it because the reason why there aren't many quote unquote acceptable selections is basically that the reason they can't be included certain games is they have to actually be members, or writers have to be members of the Writers Guild of America, and so they have to apply to become members, and I think the specifics of it is that they have to be members like confirmed prior to the release of the game itself. It was something like that, but even then, like, you still have to be a member for you to even qualify. So now they're just dropping the award altogether until they not only get more members, but then they feel that there are reasonable selections for these games to even consider the scripts that get sent to them for their process. It's a little strange, and they just kind of came out of the blue with this, just randomly in the middle of the week, and we're just like, we're dropping this award. Not enough, selections, and understandably, there were plenty of developers and just people in the industry in general just like, this is kind of disappointing. There's really no reason why this should be happening, but it is. And so yeah, there's just been lots of buzz about just not understanding why. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And
I was gonna say it doesn't make any sense until you said they had to be members of the WGA, and there's certain criteria that need to be met.
Yeah.
Which means there's a lot of people out there, a lot of games out there that aren't accredited or aren't part of the association of the WGA, which is you gotta wonder. It just only applies to AAA games with massive stories. That's the only thing I can really think of.
Even then, I'm looking at the release list this year to try to see what kind of narratives would stand out, and I feel like the games that release that do tell interesting stories, like I feel like A Plague Tale: Innocence is one of them. Outer Wilds, like games like those are from smaller teams that won't necessarily have writing staff in the WGA, as opposed to last year where we got Red Dead 2, God of War, all these major American video game AAA studios. Like, I feel like this year the selection is from a different cut of developers, if that makes any sense. Like smaller indies, more Japanese developers.
Makes perfect sense.
And I feel like there aren't enough American AAA narrative-driven titles this year that would be able to support their criteria, which is why they're cutting it this year. Because like, you really, like, in terms of Western AAA narrative-driven games, you have like Gears 5, that's one of them. But like, other than that, I really can't think of anything else where they would have like substantial writing staff in the WGA. I don't know, it sucks because like, I don't feel like they should have to be members of the WGA to be nominated. That's other people can tell stories besides them. But I feel like excluding this medium from the story from this awards category is just wrong. It's unfair in my opinion, because like video game stories have come so far, and like I just said a few minutes ago, Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2 are like one of my favorite stories told in any medium out of all of them. So like, we need to recognize good writing in this industry. I feel like it goes a long way to enhance an experience and make it a much more personal connection to whatever you're playing. So yeah, it rubs me the wrong way that they're removing it indefinitely, because they're essentially saying there aren't enough, which is completely false.
Yeah, it's almost blind. Like they just don't understand or don't want to even understand like the medium at all. And granted, even if there is a shortage, quote unquote, this year compared to other years, even still, it's you're being exclusatory. Like you're purposefully taking an entire medium of entertainment out of the awards. It just doesn't make sense.
They're essentially saying y'all weren't good enough this year, which that's I don't think you can do that as an award show.
Yeah,
like you still have to award the things.
Like if a major Marvel movie comes out, they're not just gonna take out the movie category just because like, oh, it was a bunch of indie films this year, nothing crazy. Like that's not how that works.
There's always the Game Awards,
That's true.
I'm looking at the criteria. Wow, the criteria. It looks like so there's three things here. The WGA has these three things in place: having received a writing credit or at least one produced video game. Credits which are not easily discernible as writing credits will be reviewed along submitted with materials by the video game writers committee, having been employed to write a design document or any other written video game material which in the judgment of the video game's writers. What? Oh yeah, this is complete bullshit. All this is, I'm reading this. So basically this means you're at the mercy of us approving you or not approving you. If you don't meet our criteria or satisfy us, then no, you don't belong. That's a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry. I should have said that, but yeah, that's bull.
It's wrong, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty odd, and
you need to have been hired to write video games material under the Writers Guild contract, which means
what I don't
probably a lot of fees.
Is that there's one part of that criteria that rubs me the wrong way, and it's that they said credits that like aren't obviously apparent as writing credits will be like subject to manual review. Yeah, and I feel like that is grossly ignorant of the way video games tell their stories, because like, yes, there are games that tell their stories in ways similar to like films and TV, where there are cutscenes, there's a script, there's characters. But I feel like Destiny 2 Shadowkeep is a great example. The story of that game is in the lore and in the world, and like there's not a lot of express dialogue and cutscenes. But that doesn't mean if you're writing like a lore book for Destiny, you're not a writer, you know?
Yeah, it's similar to like contextual storytelling, like even in film. Like it's for some reason somebody who is outside of the industry will take a look at a video game and expect a linear experience, because it's almost as if when they see that a player has to interact with a world, that it's hard to, at least from their perspective, they feel like you can't understand a nuance to the lore or like the environment around them, because they might just be under this impression that, oh, if it's just a video game, they're probably just running through the world. They don't care about actually stopping and taking the time to look on something just because the camera isn't necessarily focusing on something. Like it's as if they expect video game players to not care about that stuff. Like they think they're just going to kind of go run and gun through everything and not stop and take a look at something, when clearly there are video games designed for you to do that. And there are plenty of people who do take the time to look around, read audio log, or like listen to audio logs, read the lore descriptions, things like there's serious like substantial lore material in video games, and it's as if they just think that people just ignore that because it's just something that you can walk by. If it's not something forced upon you, then nobody's gonna look at it. It's willful ignorance.
It's if they're like out of touch, basically, because gaming has changed throughout the decades, and these single player experiences pretty much do exactly what you say. There are lore in place, there are recordings, there are videos, there's a note on the ground, there's a book on the table, there's something out in the world that you're going to find, and it's going to tell you a story or give you parts of a story. And that all has to be written down, that all has to be planned, that all has to be designed, which means it should meet their criteria. But, them pulling up basically means that it doesn't.
Yeah, it's ignorant. I think a lot of it has to do with like the language of video games, because obviously there are members of the WGA that are writing on video games because there was a category for them in the past, but I feel like the majority of them aren't familiar with the medium because it's still so young comparatively to everything else. And as I've tried to show games to people who don't normally play video games, they don't necessarily know how to interact with them. Like, they'll gloss over story elements, they'll gloss over environmental storytelling, but even like something as simple as a cutscene, like I've had people not really understand that the game is trying to tell them a story. Like I feel like people who aren't interacting with video games on a regular basis, like they don't really understand how to view this medium, if that makes any sense. It's like reading a book. Like with a movie, it's passive entertainment. You can sit there and watch it and it happens to you. Like the story is told to you, but like if a book, if you know how to read, it's just stuff on a paper. Like it doesn't really make any sense. And video games are really interesting to me in that way, because like it's a skill. Like you have to know how to use a controller and how to like read what the developer is trying to get you to do. Like if something in Uncharted is like marked a certain color, you can climb it. Like you have to know how to read these things and how to speak this language to be able to efficiently and effectively get these stories out of the medium. And that's a problem, because it's video game literacy, and most of the country is still illiterate in that regard.
Actually, I would actually not agree with all of that, just because I'll take a page out of YouTube where people can play the game for you and you're watching it because you want to know what happens in the story. So in that reference, you're not technically playing the game, somebody else is playing it, but you are watching the story. You are sitting back and watching it. there are plenty of games on YouTube that people have just streamed nothing but the cutscenes, and it's told the entire story of the game.
But the thing with video games is I feel like even if it's just cutscenes and it's like The Last of Us is a very linear experience and all the story is primarily told through cutscenes, still, I feel like even if you're just watching the cutscenes, video games are an inherently personal experience because
they definitely are.
Single player games, especially, you're interacting with them. There are little touches, like maybe the order in which you find the audio logs or the documents, or like if you even ignore them. It's a personal thing, and I feel like watching somebody else, it's doable, but I feel like you're better off playing it yourself. Like it's like having a book read to you versus reading the book yourself. Like yes, if you get it read to you, it'll make sense. You'll be able to comprehend it. But if you're reading it yourself, like the way you choose to interpret things, like the inflections in your voice, things like that, like it's personal.
That's the thing. And it's hard for people to interpret people who, are outside of video games. They don't really understand it. They haven't really played any at all, other than like maybe an arcade game or something. It's hard for them to interpret that it is a personal experience because it's one of the very few mediums, if at all, the only one that it literally makes you the character. It's not like you look on screen and you see this character in a movie that exemplifies certain themes that you can at least understand or sympathize with, or it's something that you felt before. Plenty of video games can do that too, but you are interacting with the character in most situations, scenarios. The game challenges you or puzzles you or kind of makes you experience this thing, and it's you because you're there doing it, but it is also a character so in a way it's like a direct connection to you that a lot of other mediums do try to accomplish, but video games, it's inherently there a lot of the time, and so it's like you experience this character through your own interactivity, and that comes through like games with choices, like moral choices that can fundamentally change the way the story plays out in a game. It pulling off of that too, like it's just such a personal experience that connects to you on a level that not a lot of other mediums can do. And
let me stop you right there before you go on. That you make an excellent point right there, because how many times have you played a game where there's a decision and you sit there and you think about this decision and the repercussions of how that's going to affect you going forward to the game? Like the most recent one for me I could say is Gears 5. And spoilers if you guys haven't played or haven't got to that point, sorry. There's a decision to kill off JD or kill off Dale. And you've played the game with both of them, and you've been around both of them. So it's basically a moral dilemma. Who do I want to kill off, and who is going to live, and what's going to happen after I make this decision? I literally sat there for like 10 minutes going, wow, I don't know who I want to kill, because the game connected to me. I was with both these characters. I experienced all the good stuff and the bad stuff, and I grew attached to these characters. So with that point you just made there, Rob, it's an excellent point.
To add to that, I think most people, when they think of choices and decisions in video games, they are generally drawn to the narrative, like telltale branching narratives. You make a choice that will affect the story, but I feel like video game choices aren't just limited to that. Like Ghost Recon is a game I'm going to talk about later, but like just as an example, when I'm sneaking into a base and I'm choosing who to take out or like where to go or what to use my drone for and what to scout, like I'm making meaningful choices in that moment that do kind of tell their own little story. It's like I'm building my own little narrative. Like I am essentially choreographing an action scene in real time, which I think is really cool. Like it's not just direct storytelling methods that you would see in like film and TV. Like video games have their own ways. They tell a story through the mechanics, which I think is really great.
Yeah, you bring up an important point too, because like I also want to bring up the fact that you kind of become that character, but in a lot of other games just like that, you can form the character around things that exemplify your personality too, which is another thing that again not a lot of mediums can do. If video games being the only one, is if you can kind of games with open worlds, games with different ways to play the video game, like Metal Gear Solid 5 is a big example for me. You can play that game however you want, even though Metal Gear Solid, like the whole series, is known as being like a stealth action game. But you could walk into that game, outfit your character with 0 silencers and all lethal weapons, and you can just like walk in there guns blazing if you wanted to. Or you can come up with a strategy and use non-lethal techniques like that. That's like obviously like a violent perspective, but still you can kind of form the way you play, form the way your character develops, and the way The story can even play out in some instances just around your personality and how you feel that your character, or in this sense, the character in the game, acts and chooses to play out their own story, which is also another thing that I think is super interesting.
Yeah, and another thing, if you look at video games through a more traditional lens, like there are some video game protagonists who don't really do much, and I feel like those protagonists get overlooked the most because like there are some let's take silent protagonists for example, like the hero in Dragon Quest XI. He doesn't really talk at all. He's not voiced, but the way he like you move him around the world and like you're with him through battles, like it's supposed to be you, but like he's also his own character. It's one of the reasons why I like Arthur Morgan so much. Like, yes, he's a well-written character whenever he's in a cutscene, but like some of my favorite moments with him that I feel like really are the best character moments is when you're just riding along and you're sharing a moment with this character. Like, I feel like video game protagonists have a really interesting relationship with the player, and it's something that I feel the medium hasn't really fully grasped yet because
Yeah.
that's its own. He's his own character. That's a person. That's not you, but also like it's technically you. You know, like I feel like that's a really interesting way to develop a character outside of them speaking and having like moments like that.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the last thing I want to harp on about this is just that a lot of people from an outside perspective may never even realize that there's a subtlety to video games that a lot of other entertainment mediums have that people just don't really think about when they look at it, because you can have personal moments like that where you stop and look around, and it's almost as if a narrative that you're curating, but it is happening to you as if it's a story that was meant for you, and it kind of feels that way when you're there. Like Red Dead Redemption 2 is a perfect example. You know, there are plenty of moments where the environment just looks so beautiful. You could be riding off into the sunset on your horse,
yeah.
and you just choose to decide to stop for a little while, take a look at your surroundings, and just like take a moment to reflect. I mean, there's plenty of crazy things that happen throughout the story of Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm sure at some point, you know, thematically the character might stop and reflect about things, but it puts you in those shoes. So you can make that choice between your missions or whatever if you want to stop and look around and appreciate what's around you and appreciate what's happened to you and think about what you're going to do next. Like there's that element of subtlety that not a lot of people think about in video games. It's not something where you focus on a specific aspect in like a film or whatever. If it focuses on this one character when they're just doing something almost meaningless or just kind of doing something or whatever, but they're in that moment thinking about something. Video games has that too. It's just not as blatant or focused on, because it's something you can kind of choose to do at your own leisure, you know, or it just comes naturally.
Yeah, and I want to bring up one of my favorite games of all time, Shadow of the Colossus. I feel like that's a game that would get snubbed if we were looking at video game narratives in a more traditional sense, because the protagonist in that game, Wander, is silent completely pretty much the whole time. And he doesn't really do any reflection over like taking down all these colossi and everything. The open world is completely empty. There's like no dialogue, no character moments, but I think Wander's a very fleshed out protagonist because all the reflection that would normally be happening, it's me doing it, not really him necessarily. Like you're supposed to start feeling bad over the course of Shadow of the Colossus if you haven't played it, because you start to like think about what you're doing and taking the reality like they're not really defending themselves. Like I'm the bad guy, but the entire story of this game is not happening on screen. It's not even happening through the mechanics. It is self-reflection within the player, and I feel like those things don't get recognized as much.
That's definitely true.
There's
Either way,
so many
though,
ways for games to tell stories, and I feel like this whole
This is
category,
this
whole
is
word
a
thing
complete stuff.
It's kind of absurd. But yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't go back and cover it for games at all. And honestly, do we really lose anything with that? So I'm just saying, I don't care. There'll be other people to pick up the slack.
not
Yeah,
really.
we have our own award shows.
Yeah, it's a good accolade, but we got the Game Awards, which has actually become quite a professional and really good
Jeff
show.
Keighley
Like,
has
I love
done
the
a
Game
great
Awards.
job.
We got DICE as well. Like we have our own things. I feel like as an industry we've stopped looking for validation from outside sources.
because we don't need it.
Yeah, we're on our own. We're fine.
We don't need you. See ya. All right, folks. Moving right along. This one is all Diego because he told me he wanted to play PlayStation Now, or he wanted to talk about PlayStation Now, and I didn't understand what he was saying. Actually, I was just being dumb, but
Yeah, I said I wanted to
PlayStation
talk
Now.
about PlayStation Now. He's like, you mean like right now?
like right now,
Yeah, horrible names aside, I subscribed to PlayStation Now. I got a 3-month subscription because earlier this week they cut the price to $60 a year, or I believe $10 a month. That's the same price as Game Pass, right? Like console Game Pass, not counting PC. I
how much?
believe, right?
Yeah, it is.
So PlayStation Now has been around for a lot longer than Game Pass, but I feel like it hasn't really been as popular. Even it does better than Game Pass just because PlayStation has more market share, but we're not looking at that right now. Um, PlayStation now lets you download PlayStation 4 games and PlayStation 2 games, and there are quite a few on there that I like Ape Escape. That's like my series.
I've
Ape Escape
never
2
heard
is
of that
on there.
game. Never heard of that game.
Never heard of Ape Escape. Yeah, it's a small little indie title, but you can download that to your PlayStation 4. I mean, I already own it, so that doesn't really count. But they added like big games like God of War, Uncharted 4, Grand Theft Auto 5, which are downloadable. But the problem with those is they're going to be removed after 3 months, which I feel like is really interesting because Game Pass, the way that works is Xbox first party titles like Gears 5, great example, are on there day one and they tend to stay on there. I don't think they've removed any yet, have they?
Yeah, they said that they would rotate them out, but I think it's unwritten or unstated rule that if it's a first party game, it just stays
Yeah,
there.
Microsoft first party games, they don't have anything to lose, right? They'll just keep those on there.
Yep.
Yeah, PlayStation, they're a little more stingy with their IP. You can play God of War on there right now until January 2nd, but they're going to rotate in more noteworthy games once those leave, which I think is a really interesting way to handle it.
I think they should just keep their first party games. If they're trying to emulate the success of Game Pass, then they really need to emulate it. First party games need to stay there indefinitely. That's just me.
Yeah, I think so too. But I don't know. Maybe next gen, because the reason that they're pushing it now is they've had a change in leadership. Jim Ryan, I think is his name. He's the new head of everything over there.
Yeah, Ryan's in charge now, which is interesting. I'll bring it up after you finish talking because I was reading some information and it seems like the recent change in leadership was more of a forced decision. The two big people in charge had conflicting ideas of how PlayStation should proceed as a brand. So that was actually really interesting.
Yeah, but Jim Ryan earlier this year said they want to double down on PlayStation Now, and I think we're finally seeing the fruits of that because there's a price cut and there are actual games on there now. But last time I tried PlayStation Now was about a year ago. Before Red Dead 2 came out, I wanted to replay Red Dead 1, and I figured, hey, I have a 7-day trial. I'll stream Red Dead Redemption. And I played the entirety of that game on there. It worked okay, but it wasn't ideal. I tried streaming God of War the other day just to test it out. I have the platinum for that game. Like, I have no reason to go back and play it unless I really want to. But I figured, hey, I'll stream it and see what it's like. It was good. Like, I'm really surprised by how far the service has come. Now, granted, my PS4 is hardwired, and I have fiber internet, so that's probably it. But
yeah.
There's been a lot of big changes in the background. Remember a couple months ago where Sony was working with Microsoft? They've changed their infrastructure to where it's being hooked at.
I feel like it's more connection quality than connection speed. So as long as you're wired, you should get a decent experience.
Well, that's the norm. You should always be. I know it's not ideal for people. It's hard. You know, you have wireless or PoE, power over internet is your only option. But wired is always traditionally better unless you're spending
like video gaming wired. You should already be wired. Like I feel like ideally you should.
There are some really good enterprise wireless solutions, but again, those are omni-lake, but they are phenomenal. With like 500-600 megs a second in your house. Those are some great stuff, but they're pricey.
Yeah, but in terms of like the streaming technology for now, like there wasn't a lot of artifacting, which I found really cool. I mean, there wasn't a lot of I could feel it. It was streaming. I could feel the input latency, but like it wasn't. I don't know if I would play like a fighting game. They have fighting games in like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. I'm not gonna touch those. But like Civilization Revolution is on there. That's a turn-based strategy game. I might give that a go just because it's streaming. It's in a great place right now. I think it's finally starting to become a worthy thing to add to your PlayStation library, especially at the price. It's no Game Pass because Xbox Game Pass is just leagues and leagues ahead of it right now. But I feel like I was saying about Mixer earlier, this is the start of their push. I feel like next generation, once the PS5 rolls around, we're going to see something big, whether it's like some PS5 launch titles being on there day one, or like they're going to have to emulate Game Pass in some way for this to truly catch on.
Yeah, if there's anything that they're going to do next generation, they're absolutely going to focus on this, just considering the popularity of how Game Pass has gone huge ever since they've announced it.
And going past Game Pass, Game Pass is the leader, but they also have competition now from Stadia. xCloud is also coming out, and they're looking at all the big packages coming out, and they're like, wow, we really need to step up our game because, as you said, Diego, they have perhaps the largest catalog right now, but they're not really using it.
Yeah, it's just they're generally more stingy with their IPs than like say Microsoft. But I feel like we're in a spot right now where subscription services are becoming more and more commonplace. Like you can't be as secretive with your IPs anymore. You have to put them on these services, I think, in the future.
Though
And
I
feel
will
like
say this
stuff is,
before you
like,
go further. Let me say this: Microsoft likely would have not done what they did if they weren't backed into a corner.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But Jim Ryan has come out and said that he doesn't want to fall into the PlayStation complacency where they're in the lead and then they get really comfortable and they don't advance or push anymore.
We've seen this every year.
Said that before, but
yep.
I feel like this is like the first real time we're actually going to put it to the test.
Because the next gen is going to be interesting. Then.
Yeah, because like the first big like PlayStation is leagues ahead and they're going to get really comfortable with that and not do anything and think they're king of the world was PS2 to PS3.
Because I really doubt that Booty and Spencer is going to let Xbox fall behind next year. Not happening.
I think PlayStation's looking at what happened from the PS2 to PS3 and they're like, we can't let that happen again.
Oh yeah.
So I think this next generation is, and that's not even counting how streaming is happening, all these subscription services and packages, just the state of games right now. Like, it's a really interesting time for there to be a new generation.
Yeah, it's getting similar to cable in that sense, where everything's kind of splitting off to its own thing. Everybody has to kind of decide, oh, how am I going to split my gaming time? Should I get this subscription service? Should I get this console? I mean, it's been kind of that way before, but now with like subscriptions and stuff, like it's really getting to the point where things are splitting off into several different ways. And people are going to be making these informed consumer decisions because they're all playing the comparison game. I mean, how many games does PlayStation now have in comparison to Game Pass? Like, people are going to be wondering that, like, oh, this one has more games, even if they might not even touch most of them on the service. They'll probably put that into consideration when they want to opt in for one of these subscription services. So they'll be looking at stuff like that, like, oh, is there a latency that it's really bad that to the point where I would just download everything? Am I gonna prefer to play PlayStation exclusives over Xbox exclusive? Like, they're gonna be asking these questions, and obviously that's where the competition goes into play. But still, it's just gonna be tough. It's just gonna be how like TVs become. Cable's gonna split off and everything like that. People have to make these informed choices now.
Yeah. Oh my God, the state of cable and streaming services is a mess right now. Let's not even go into that, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in terms of like PlayStation Now, they're only really competing with Xbox Game Pass, because I know there's Origin Access, but that's just EA games. Uplay Plus recently launched. That's just Uplay games. If we're going for like the Netflix of games, you want to have a wide variety of everything, and that's PlayStation Now and Xbox Game Pass. Stadia not necessarily, because Stadia is a store. Like, you can subscribe to Stadia Pro, but that's gonna be like a PlayStation Plus instant game library kind of thing, where it's gonna be a select like right if you get Stadia Pro whenever it launches next month, you have Destiny 2. And they're going to add more games every few months. Like, it's not necessarily like a pay $10, get access to hundreds of games kind of deal. So it's really interesting that like it's just PlayStation and Xbox in direct competition with each other. And there hasn't been like a third-party player come in and try to do anything like that. But I think it's really cool for them because like they're both in this position to where like PlayStation had the PS3 era where they fell behind. Xbox had that with the Xbox One. And now both companies are in a position where they're both saying, we can't let that happen again.
Yep, it cannot happen. It simply cannot happen.
And it's going to happen to one of them. There has to be a winner and a loser in this fight. They can't be equal. So I think it's going to be really interesting to watch what happens over the course of the next few years.
Yeah, I think next generation is where we're going to be seeing some serious competition. I honestly think next generation, we're not going to really have a clear winner. It's going to be very tough.
It'll be neck and neck.
Unless PlayStation just decides that they're going to be complacent again, but that's not going to happen. I don't believe that for a second. There's no way that they're going to look at their previous history and be like, no, I think we're good. We can just kind of just stick with our guns. They're not going to do that.
Both companies are dead set not to lose next generation.
Both companies have management that realize, hey, we can't make those mistakes again.
It's going to be crazy difficult for them to kind of edge off each other.
I think the big battle next gen is going to be services. Like,
you know what's going to be cool though? The coolest thing about this is we're finally going back to where these companies are really serious about one up each other. We haven't had this since the days of the Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, or Nintendo and Sega, when they went after each other constantly.
And I can't wait to see this. We're all going to be getting more games, and we're going to be getting better games. So that's all I can ask for.
I mean, you would think that, but you never really know, because sometimes these AAA games come out and I'm going to talk about one in a second.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah.
How about that game? I
talked about a game on the podcast a few weeks ago. I talked about Ghost Recon Breakpoint in the beta, and I said I really liked it. I would like to take back everything I've said about this game.
Redacted. He doesn't want it.
Anything I have said about this game that's positive, please strike that from the record, because I have spent 7 or 8 hours with the full game of Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I have unfortunately spent 7 or 8 hours with Ghost Recon Breakpoint. The beta impressions that I gave were positive, but it was only under the condition that the game would grow and evolve after that tutorial segment they let us play. It doesn't. If you've played Ghost Recon Wildlands, you know what to expect here. It's pretty much just after the brief, like cool story stuff they show us. It's like, okay, get in the helicopter, fly to this area, sneak in, get the evidence, leave, do this over and over again for hours and hours and hours. Now, granted, there is still some story stuff, but it drops off considerably after that, like where the beta left us off. And that was really my only driving force with this game, because the gameplay is awful.
Really?
Okay, I don't know where to start with. Because I'm going to tear this game apart. I just don't know where to start picking at it.
Well, at the beginning.
My curiosity first is how badly does the story drop off then? Because I mean, I played through the beta with you, and I got to some extent towards the end of the beta, like story wise, and I was like, okay, this is going in a good direction. I was expecting,
yeah, like there's still like, do you remember those like Afghanistan flashback sequences?
Yeah.
There's more of those, and those are great, but they're so few and far in between. Like it once you finish that beta period, I liked the beta Breakpoint because it was linear. Like they gave you a mission, and then it led to another mission, and there was like a through line and a plot thread. Once you finish that, it dumps like 5 missions on you, and they're all in different parts of the map. Which is like typical Ubisoft fare. The game opens up a good amount, but like because of that, the narrative suffers, and like there are still flashback sequences, and they develop the relationship with Walker and everything, but none of it really connects. It's all just kind of fluff, and I don't know if that's. To be fair, John Bernthal kills every scene he's in. He's such a talented actor. He totally steals the spotlight. But that brings me to everybody else's performances. They're bad. They are so bad. I mean, Nomad, your protagonist, he's passable, but like some of the side characters, like Jay Skell, who's like the CEO of the Skeltech Corporation that is on this island, it's almost The Room level bad. It's like Tommy Wiseau level stuff. Oh man, it's so bad. And then like the guards, they say the same like 2 conversations over and over and over again, which you're going to hear a lot if you're sneaking into bases. The narrative, like, and they introduce all these side characters, because like in Wildlands you had the cartel, and like you had the leaders and the people under them and all that. There's similar things here. You have like Skeltech employees and high ups that you go find, as well as like higher ups on the Wolves, but they're not really developed as much. Like none of the characters in this game are compelling, like at all. And they really try to make you care for this cast, but there's no one to care about. And that sucks, because the story was my main drive here. I really wanted to see where this story goes. And granted, I'm not done with it. There could be some major twists and plays in the second half or like later in the game. But as it stands right now, I don't think it's worth trudging through what I played, because the gameplay is equally as bad. My main issue, I think, is the cover system, because this is a third-person cover-based shooter. It's like a soft cover system. So like if you play something like The Division, you press a button, or like Gears, you press a button, you snap to cover, and it's responsive and it works, and you're in control. Ghost Recon, it's weird because like if you move near cover, your guy will kind of get into cover, sort of, but like it's not really clear, and it kind of ruins the control. This game feels like Jello to me, because everything it's so hard to control my character. Like there's some button prompts to like pick things up or like pick up hostages, but they're always covered by other things, so it's really hard to get anything done. Shooting feels stiff and stilted and awkward. I can never really land precision shots like I need to, so it kind of makes stealth like mandatory, because if you're in combat, you can't like my crosshair is never quite where I want it to be. There's loot in this game now, which I mentioned. The loot in this game represents a lot of what's wrong with this game. I feel like this game is just one big dichotomy, because you have on one end they want to be a military sim, tactical, realistic game with like a really strong story, but then on the other end there's a social hub, there's loot, there's going to be a raid, and these two identities, they clash with each other so hard, to where the military stuff is hurt by the loot, but the loot is hurt by the realistic stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing I was curious about too, is that the loot felt practically useless.
It's pointless. And I said last time I talked about this, maybe it'll get better as the game goes on.
Yeah.
The loot, like the color rarity, I learned it's really just perks. So if you see a green weapon, it's not that the weapon itself is green, it's that it has a green perk, which like the green perks are like 2% more accuracy, things like that. And once they get like legendary, they're not really that substantial either. It's like, plus 10 range, things like that. Like, I don't really care. Gun's still killing one shot to the head anyway. Like, there's no real point to it unless you're fighting the bullet sponge drones.
Yeah.
This game, I don't want to seem sensational about it, but I think I liked Anthem more.
Wow.
And that's saying something.
Holy wow.
Because I feel like Anthem at least had a decent campaign with tight gunplay and like fun flight mechanics. This game just sucks. It's bad.
You have done a complete 180 from the last time we talked about this game.
Well, because they gave us such a small amount, and it was promising. And I'm like, okay, just do that, but like more. And they're like, no, let's just make a bad game instead. The driving's at least a little bit better than Wildlands, but like, oh man,
That's
the
still
world
not
is
saying much.
Yeah, it's not saying much.
Now
and the world is so empty, and like you come across the same like, I swear every intersection of this island has a hostage situation, and I just drive past them at this point. I don't care. I don't like this game.
Now, folks, before you guys start saying, "Hey, he's just crapping on the game," go take a look at the reviews. This game has one of the lowest Metacritic and OpenCritic scores of any game this entire year.
Oh my god, I didn't talk about the monetization. Oh my god, the microtransactions. Oh, it's disgusting. I'm upset now. So this is a game. I mentioned it had a social hub. You go into the social hub, you can buy cosmetics. It doesn't end there. You can also buy weapons. You could buy skill points up until recently. They patched it out because people got mad. This is a pay-to-win video game. Straight up pay-to-win. Luckily, they're pretty good about balancing things out in PvP, but like this whole the whole back to the dichotomy thing, the whole identity of this game is you are lost behind enemy lines. You're like one of the last surviving ghosts. Like you are outnumbered, you are outgunned, you are on your own in this hostile environment. Unless you want to buy some ghost coins, in that case, you can buy whatever weapons you want. You can buy skill points. You can buy cool looking things. You can buy sports cars that you can summon to you at camps. What is going on with this game? It's like it was made by two different teams who spoke two different languages from two different publishers. I wanted to like this game so bad, but it's honestly one of the worst things I played all year.
He really did. He would not stop talking about this game and how good it was going to be. And I feel bad. I feel bad that he feels so strongly about this game now.
Oh, and
it's really
buggy,
insane.
I didn't even talk about the bugs.
Oh god,
PvP. I mentioned on the last beta. PvP is fun when it works. I mentioned last week that PvP crashed my PS4 like 5 times.
Hey, do you remember the part we were talking about this game last week? And I was like, oh, I played where I got in and I crashed. I shot some guys and my computer kept going, hey, we're not playing this game anymore.
Oh yeah. Also, don't buy this game on PC. Even if you get Uplay Plus, which is like this is the first game for Uplay Plus it's out. It's not even worth the subscription. Don't. It's the optimization on PC is a mess. But yeah, this game is so ridiculously buggy. PvP does not work. It doesn't function at all. You can't play it. Frame rate wise, not great. It drops every now and then. Graphically, this game is hit or miss. It has great lighting, so at times it can look really, really great and really atmospheric. Other times it looks like a early gen PS4 game, PS3 game sort of deal. Like it's facial animations are really okay. So like the character models look really bad. But then you have John Bernthal's character, and he looks like he's from another game. Like, he looks good. Everything else looks bad. This game needed, like, another year in the oven, I think. Like, don't buy this game. Not $60, not $30, maybe $15 if you really, really want this kind of co-op, like, military kind of game. I think the tweet that I tweeted out earlier, follow me on Twitter, CircleSquareDP, really sums it up. Do not buy Ghost Recon Breakpoint. The only fun you'll have in this game is with your friends, but if you make your friends play it with you, they'll hate you. Like, don't. Avoid this game. There are too many. I feel like a few years ago when there weren't enough games out, like, okay, maybe you could put up with some issues once they get patched up, but like, dude, Destiny 2 Shadowkeep is out. There are games coming out next week. There are games coming out the week after that. There are too many games. This game is dead in the water. I've already forgotten about it. And that's all I have to say about Ghost Recon Breakpoint. One of the worst games I've played all year. Anthem is better.
Yeah.
I'm not saying something.
Yeah, I kind of agreed with you. Just because, like, I remember playing the beta, and there were just some things that I was like, all right, well, this is a beta, so, I mean, maybe the rest of the game has some more stuff, but hearing what you're saying now, I am not really surprised.
Just, I don't know how you're going to have the story drop off so hard. I don't know how you're going to have awful, mushy gameplay that you really can't control your characters. I don't know how you're going to have this game be so incredibly buggy, like almost 76 level buggy, Fallout 76. Not quite that bad, but it's there. The PvP straight up does not function. You're going to monetize. This is one of the most predatory monetization schemes I have ever seen in a video game. Oh my God. I can't think of any positives. I don't like
Well,
it.
ladies and gentlemen, don't buy this game.
Don't avoid it. Don't, even if it's free with like plus, do not play this game. It is not, the time you will lose is you can't get it back. You just can't. This game will haunt you forever.
God damn. Okay. Good thing I wasn't going to pick up that game after all. So that was what, $60?
Yeah, $60.
Yeah.
Some poor people bought the Ultimate Edition and the Wolves Collector's Edition.
Oh
no.
God.
Oh man.
This is where you want to be able to return games. Like, I don't want this game. It's bad.
They're gonna like update this game and put a raid in there. Like, who's gonna keep playing this game like in a week? I don't know.
So
Anyway.
we've got the Division 2 dead, and now this dead. All right. They're 2 for 2.
Yeah, Division.
job.
At least that game had an identity and knew what it wanted to do. Ghost Recon Breakpoint feels like it's trying to be 8 games at once, and it's bad at all of them.
Yeah, let's talk about a positive game now.
Yeah,
huh?
good game.
Good game. Great game.
I like those.
So, for the past couple of days, well, hell, since the game was released, which is Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, all 3 of us have been playing the hell out of this game.
Yeah.
I don't know about the rest of you two, but I've been playing this game pretty much nonstop.
Yeah, from the limited time that I've had, it's the only game I've played. I played Need for Speed Most Wanted earlier in the week because it was still installing. That's it.
I haven't finished my review of The Surge 2 because I've been playing this game.
So where are we all at light level wise? Just to give listeners an impression of where we're at.
I'm 908 now.
Yeah, I'm 910.
I believe I am the lowest, simply because I jumped out of Destiny before Forsaken came out, so I was kind of at the same level as anybody who had just gotten the new light. So I hopped in with 750. I'm now, I believe, at like 850, getting there.
Yeah.
I've just been focusing on the Shadowkeep content just so I can just raise my level back up. I'm gonna go back and do Forsaken, at least the rest of that, and then I'll be finished with that. So yeah, I'm about 850 now.
Yeah, to put that in perspective, everybody starts at 750 now. The hard cap, well, soft cap for gear dropping is 900, and then the raid's going to be around 920, I think. So,
but it starts at 890. The final boss in that game is going to be 920.
All right. So like we're getting there.
Speaking of which, that raid starts tomorrow, and Bungie will be streaming the first race world first. I'll be watching that. It starts at 10 a.m. tomorrow, Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely going to be interesting. Wish I was in a raid, but I'm pretty sure we'll eventually get into that raid. It sounds a lot of fun. But overall impressions of the game so far?
If I may, I would like to start just because I feel like I'm coming from a perspective where a new player is most likely going to come from.
Definitely, go ahead.
So just as an aside, to be honest with you, if you had played Destiny 2 before and you really weren't up to about 750 by the time this expansion comes out, I honestly, unless you have a bunch of legendaries you want to keep, it might even be best to start from scratch, whether it's just starting from a new character or if you just hop back later, or if you just want to start with a clean slate. Honestly, that might be a good idea too, just because from when I started out, it was almost as if kind of confusing at first, because it's like it's almost as if the season 1 content goes away. You don't really like it's confusing because there was a campaign before, and there were some expansions in season 1 that you could have totally gone in and jumped into, but now it's almost as if, like, because I had a character that existed before, and I don't think I finished all of the season 1 content before Forsaken came out, and it was almost as if I jumped into this game and all of it was gone. Like, it felt like they just took it away, even though it was still there. 100% still available, but it's just like
it's tucked away in like this really, really weird part of the tower. Like, if you want to access that old content on like the most random NPC, like, why isn't that with anybody else? The onboarding is terrible if you're a new player.
Yeah, that's for sure. So what I was going to say is that if you are definitely going to be starting this, like this is brand new to you, you should start with a new character, because then at least you can start off with the tutorial mission that's similar to Destiny 1's tutorial, because then you can get a very good footing on how this game's going to function and how you can play, how you would like to play the game, and then from there you can hop into the new content like almost immediately. And so that's just something I want to point out, because it was a little disorienting for me just with an existing character that I have that only made partial progress in Destiny 2. So just something to keep in mind. If you are going to be starting brand new, just start with a new character, especially if it's something you had played prior to the most recent expansions. But that aside, anyway, I have been hopping in now. I've been doing mostly Shadowkeep content because I picked that up few days ago, and so I just wanted to power level because I had started at 750 just like any other new player. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna power level for a bit. I've been doing Shadowkeep content for a little while. Don't really know where I'm at in terms of story. Probably not too far because I've been kind of hopping back and forth between Forsaken and Shadowkeep, but now I'm focusing strictly on Shadowkeep. And it's just as fun as I remember. Like the gunplay is just as good. Like all your abilities are super satisfying, and especially if you're someone coming in new, like you feel like a badass. It's awesome. The powers are great, especially if you're a warlock player because warlock's really cool. But I've just been having a great time. Like I'm starting brand new, so I'm kind of tucked away some of the legendary items that I had, and I'm just starting with all of the blue engrams you get, which is just standard loot that you get from random missions like open air patrols and just public events and stuff. And so yeah, I've just been kind of leveling up from there and just getting a good footing, which every character and every player is going to kind of hop into before they really dig into finishing the story and then get over to the strikes and then the end game content. And so yeah, it's been fun. I've been enjoying it a lot.
Diego?
So I'm liking it a lot. It's just I have some problems with it. I don't want to spoil anything, but like the campaign for Shadowkeep just kind of ends. Like
No, we need to spoil it. If you haven't got to the end game, sorry, or
we're gonna spoil it.
Yeah, we're spoiling it. We have to. It's so good. We have to.
Yeah, well, so the way it ends, like they show like the Black Garden, which is going to be the raid, and then you like see yourself like a doppelganger of yourself as the darkness, and then it like says some things to you, but then it just kind of like you go back to the moon, and there's no more missions. There's not even a credits thing. It's just over, and I'm like, well, what's happening? So they're doing like an evolving world. Like the story is going to continue over the course of this season, and then it's the next season and the next season. Everything's going to link into each other. So I just thought it was really weird that like because Forsaken like ended, even though like in the end of Forsaken you like see stuff that leads into the raid like that was a through complete like arc there. It was a full story. Shadowkeep feels to me like the season premiere of a TV show, which I'm really into this idea. It's just I didn't know that going in. So I feel like if you do drop the 35 for Shadowkeep, 60 for the deluxe,
Yep.
Do keep in mind that you are buying into the promise of more content, not necessarily a complete expansion. There are things to do, but like the campaign's very brief. It's very, very padded. There's only like 2 new strikes, 3 new crystal maps. It's not a whole lot of content right now, but I feel like as Season of the Undying progresses and as we get the raid tomorrow and the new dungeon opening later this month, like we'll see more story stuff. But like I feel like the little story we did get, like the season premiere of whatever they're doing next for Destiny, the story, like the overall Guardians versus the Darkness story of Destiny is finally progressing, which I'm so happy about.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Destiny's expansions like Curse of Osiris and Warmind feel like side stories that don't really like they add to the lore, but they don't really push the main story forward. Like I feel like we're gonna fight the darkness. It's gonna happen now, like eventually, whenever it's what they're building to, which is really cool. And I'm glad that we're finally getting to that because that was the promise in the original D1, where like you see the Black Garden in the end of Destiny 1 vanilla, and then that was it until now.
That's kind of how I felt when I was doing like some of the season 1 expansions. I was like, it did sufficiently interest me. So don't get me wrong there, but it always did kind of feel like, because I remembered in Destiny 1, like the whole campaign and story, it was about the darkness for the most part. It was similar to Destiny 2, had some expansions that were just like lore based and everything like that. But it brought about like the Prison of Elders. Like you went to I forget what the purple space area is called, but
the reef or the Tangled Shore.
Reef. Yeah, you go to the reef.
The Tangled Shore.
Yeah,
the Tangled Shore. Yeah.
Yeah, but even in Destiny 1, like that was still relatively based in the overarching story. You're fighting the darkness, like there's several different, alien races that are coming from that. But Destiny 2 was always weird for me prior to Forsaken, anyway, in that it was just kind of like, here's a character from this side, they're based out of the Vanguard or whatever, or like Curse of Osiris is based on, Warlock lore and things like that. So it always kind of felt like, here's a side story that we can kind of run with until we kind of decide what we want to do with everyone in Destiny and how we want to push the overarching narrative forward. So that was always kind of weird to me, was that they were just kind of putting side stuff in for you to do. Never really felt like there was like a general direction where the main narrative was going to go. So it's good to hear and soon experience that it's actually taken that direction.
Yeah, because in like the post-credit scene of the vanilla Destiny 2 campaign, they show like these triangle ships that are heavily implied to be like the darkness.
Yeah.
So everyone thought, okay, cool, like Curse of Osiris and Warmind, the first 2 expansions are going to touch on this. No. But now in Shadowkeep, one of those is on the moon. So there's a through line. This essentially, you can ignore the first 2 expansions. I mean, you can play Forsaken. It's a good expansion, I feel, but like none of the expansions have really continued the story until now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still kind of hopping through Forsaken, so I don't really know. Obviously, you guys can spoil it for me because I kind of know what happens, but
Yeah, it's really its own story still. Like it doesn't really push the main story
because it's
forward
definitely
that much.
just Cade 6, and then you're going back to the Prison of Elders, and
that whole story's about Cade. That's really it.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Yeah.
Which I still don't think they resolved it right. I'm sorry, maybe because I was a big fan of Cade. I'm still pissed off that they killed him off, and we still don't have his replacement.
Well, I think that's Destiny in a nutshell. It's like they try cool things, but they can never pull it off the right way narratively.
So
this game really suffers in the story department, I feel. I mean, it's got a lot of cool lore, and I love that world and that universe, but like they really struggle at giving like a satisfying narrative in their campaigns.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say about this one. I love the lore of Destiny, and I love the fact that we finally saw. Okay, back in Destiny 2, when Destiny 2 first launched, and we got the ending campaign, we saw these giant, massive pyramid-shaped ships heading towards your location, and then nothing ever happened. We never heard anything about it. They just disappeared. Bungie stopped talking about them. And now, with this new expansion, we're finally finding out what they're about, what they're doing, and as the story progresses, we'll find out more about them. So we know about what they're doing here, how they're saying there are starvation, and as much as I'm glad to see them continue the storyline, I am disappointed that it just stops out of nowhere. I also felt the story wasn't really as strong as, say, Forsaken. I think Forsaken had a lot more narrative going for it than this one. This one is definitely really good, but I just think Forsaken was just a little bit better than this one. As far as the gameplay is solid. The gunplay is amazing. The changes to the weapons and to how characters react are actually really good. I am still sad they really nerfed the hell out of Rampage though. That was my go-to perk on my breakneck, and now it's like, it doesn't even last 3 seconds anymore. Even with 3 stacks, it's really a shame that they did that to that perk. But in all, I think it is a really solid expansion. But like you said, if you're coming in expecting this full campaign, you're not going to get that. And I think that goes back, and it's just me, I think that goes back to when Bungie was acquired by Activision. I think Activision really wanted them to push new versions of the game and do this and do that and do this. Because it's really odd now that when you start Destiny 2 Shadowkeep as a new player, you're playing the first mission in Destiny. The first Destiny.
Well, that makes sense in the world, though, because you're a new guardian, you wake up, you find your ghost, and then they bring you to the current. You don't go back to like vanilla Destiny 2 tower. You go to the current tower.
Exactly. It's
and
just, it's like a mosh of the two.
Well, the old content, like it's. I really like how they did it actually, because like if you want to go back and play the vanilla campaign or any of the year one stuff, you have to go and visit this NPC, and it's like it's under a legacy category. So it's like it's not as if you're playing through the campaign to catch up. It's like you're being told the story of what happened in the past, which I think is really cool.
It's a nice catch up. It's like, hey, this happened in the beginning. Now this is where we're at now.
I just think it's cool they brought back that original Destiny 1 waking up mission to frame a new player coming into new light, because that's how all the like you're a dead person, ghost finds you, you wake up, you make your way to the tower. That's how every guardian starts.
And I've always loved the Cosmodrome. I hope we get to go back. I know you go back for a certain mission. Yeah, but I want them to go back and revisit the original Destiny 1. I want them to come full circle as they progress from just going from, hey, Destiny 2, hey, Destiny 3, hey, Destiny 4, where they just stay in this continuing, evolving world, that they go back and they revisit, and I know some people are going to hate this, go back and revisit some older content to get new players up to speed. Because I felt this was actually a really nice experience for those people who've never played the first Destiny, mainly the PC players. We didn't have access to that unless we played on PlayStation or Xbox. So playing that very first beginning and then coming to where we are now is actually a really nice touch. It's really enjoyed that.
Because you're jumping into like a world, like a living, breathing world that evolves and changes over time. So like I think that's really cool. They dump you into like current Destiny. Like, hey, the Shadowkeep campaign is happening now. If you want to go play the Red War or anything, like you have to go relive that through like this NPC somewhere.
Yeah, it's also really cool, I think, for returning players too, because it's almost kind of like it does go back to what Keith was saying. It is full circle to some extent, because now that there are new Guardians coming in, like new people actually coming in to join the game. They're coming in as if like it's been resolved. They're not losing their light. They're not having to go back and retrieve it again and then take back the tower. Now it actually feels like that has been done. It's a story that's already passed. Like, and now you actually feel like any of the new players, it's like new recruits. Like you're finally becoming back to your previous strength. Like it's interesting in that sense, story wise. It feels like now finally back to what it used to be. Now you can kind of push forward, which also kind of relates back to the story pushing forward now. Granted, they probably should have done that way earlier, but now it actually they're in a proper place to do it. So I think they're in a good spot, narrative wise, lore wise, and
I think it's really cool like how they frame everything. Like I think it's cool the PvP is framed in a certain way. Like it makes sense in universe. Like if you wake up as a new Guardian in New Light, you show up in the tower and you're confused, like you should be narratively. Like there's a lot of history and things that happened in the past, but like as a new Guardian, you're supposed to be like concerned with what's happening now. So like that's why Shadowkeep is current. Like it's really cool they're doing that. I think it makes sense because like you and your like if you're playing with Destiny veterans and they've like I played D1, I played all the expansions, but I have new friends coming in. So like me and my old friends were talking about like stuff that happened, but it's like it adds more to like the immersion and the role play, I think, because like the way we're talking about it, it's like we were there, but like all of our New Light friends are like, well, what are you talking about? And we have to tell them the stories, and I think it's really cool how that's all framed in universe.
Yeah. Destiny, like I said, Destiny has always had a rich lore universe. Now that Bungie is away from Activision, I'm hoping that they actually expand on that, because they actually can do what they want to do now. And Shadowkeep and Forsaken, it's just the beginning of the tip. They're going to give us a lot more stuff. They don't have their hands tied anymore. They say, hey, we can do the things that we always wanted to do, but we couldn't now. So I really think we're in for a great ride.
Going back to the story stuff, I don't necessarily think it's fair to compare Shadowkeep to Forsaken, because Forsaken was a complete story. Like it ended when the credits rolled. Like that was it. And there were those annual pass with like Season of the Drifter, Season of Opulence, all those things, but those were like their own things. With Shadowkeep, going back to what I said about the season premiere, like the campaign just kind of ends, but like it's not over, because when Destiny expansions are over, like you see the title card, I believe there are credits. Like none of that happens with Shadowkeep. It like I didn't know it was the last mission until like I couldn't find more on my map. Like it's very much a setup for future content. Like the story is going to continue in the raid tomorrow. The new dungeon is going to happen. The Vex offense is going to kick off next week, presumably as a result of what happens in the raid. They're going to tell a year-long story. The Shadowkeep narrative
definitely
is not going to end until like we reach the last season of like this next year, of year 3.
Yeah.
And presumably we'll get another expansion.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be a year-long story, which I think is really cool. And we're going to see headlines like, oh, this happened in Destiny this week. Oh, like, oh man, the Vex are finally here. Like things like that, instead of like a self-contained thing in one expansion.
Yeah, they're selling a promise of a story that's not only going to be ongoing, but it's going to be shaking things up, like fundamentally how the story is going to progress, and whether it could also be like things that happened in the past. They could easily change up some lore and break things, change things, mess up things. Like they're selling a point that they're creating a story that's going to continue to evolve and shake up the experience to the point where every time you come in, there's going to be something different. And that's what I can appreciate a lot. And I'm super excited for, because now it's not so much like an expansion comes out, it's a self-contained story, and that's it. Once you do that, you get some endgame content, but it's almost as if nothing kind of propels you toward that other than new light level and new gear. Like it actually feels like now there's something else happening in the background that you want to pay attention to, rather than just I'm gonna get new stuff now.
Yeah, and I think they can do really cool stuff with this, because the last mission in Shadowkeep, once you go to the Black Garden and you see like the apparition of yourself, like you get handed like this artifact kind of thing that you don't really know what it is, and then you take it back to Eris, and she's like, I need time.
She's like, mine. This is mine.
Yeah, and she's like studying it, but like if it was just a campaign, you would give it to her and then immediately get a new mission. But like now she's like, Shadowkeep came out on Tuesday, you finish it, you hand her the thing, and now Saturday when the raid drops, she's gonna be like, Guardian, you need to go to the Black Garden, and then that's when the offensive, when the Black Garden will happen. Like things are gonna happen in real time, which I think is really cool to like go and sell this evolving world that they're trying to do.
Yeah, and not just that, I like the little quality of change things they've done as well. Like for example, one of my biggest issues with Destiny 2 was the Nightfalls, that I couldn't do them because I didn't have a clan. Now the first level or the first difficulty of the Nightfall is a matchmaking.
Yeah, there are 4 tiers to it now, and like the easier difficulties have matchmaking, which is really cool.
So everybody can get a chance to finally experience that content if you couldn't do it before.
Yeah, because the way the Nightfall worked before is you would do it once every week and get a powerful engram. But now they have it's like 1 to 5, and you have to complete 5 versions of it technically. But like the lower difficulty is only worth 1 or 2 points. But if you can just run through it on the hardest difficulty and do it one time, or you can do the match made easier ones and do it 3 or 4 times, and you'll get the same reward. Which I think is a really, really nice compromise for that, because I can run more Nightfalls now because it's just matchmaking. Like I don't really have a clan, so
yeah. Plus, it's similar in length to a strike, so it's not too much longer. You could easily just hop in and do them several different times and get kind of the same outcome.
Yeah, it's just, do you want to run it without matchmaking on hard and do it less, or do you want to run it easier with matchmaking and do it a few times for the same reward, which is really cool.
Which is good for convenience, because I remember in Destiny 1, I used to hate the fact that all the raids were locked behind. You need to have a party. Even the Prison of Elders was like locked behind a party. You have to have friends and join up with them and do it. Yeah. And I remember all the time I'd be like forcing myself to go onto like the forums and like the sites for fire teams and just be like, hey, I want to do Prison of Elders. I don't have anybody who plays this game personally. Why can't I just join up with people? And I'd have to do that. That was super frustrating with Destiny 1 for sure. But now I'm just glad that regardless of if they turn down the level a bit, it's still good that you can actually experience this content, even if it's not convenient for other people that who play the game. Like they're opening it up in smart ways, I think.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see where Destiny goes, because it would be like this past year I played Forsaken at launch, beat that campaign, then it was just I would hop into Destiny to play like Crucible and like do my strikes and things like that, but I wouldn't come for any reason other than that. I would just wait until the next season with the Black Armory, and then that would finish, then I would wait till the Drifter. But now, like, not only do I have like loot reasons to come back, like, and I have like events like the Vex Offensive, but I also have narrative reasons to come back, which I think is really cool. Like, this story is going to progress often and in real time, which is so cool to me.
Yep, and not also that, we also have the Battle Pass now, which rewards you for coming back and playing more. Mm-hmm. Right now, there's 100 different levels. That's pretty big, and every time you go up a level,
a bonus experience for your first 5 levels every week.
Yep. You get that, and you get really useful materials. You either get gear, or you get engrams, or you get upgrade modules. When I said quality of life changes, I'm glad they changed the fact that you'll need all these different planetary resources to upgrade your stuff. God, such a pain. Now it's just you need an upgrade module, which you do still need some. You still need some of those resources, but it's not as many.
Yeah, you don't have to grind through each patrol's like
the battle pass
running around. Yeah,
such a pain behind. There are also certain perks you add into your new armor system that gives you glimmer on certain things, or planetary resources on certain things, or resilience. The whole Armor 2.0 system is a really nice change, and also kills your glimmer really fast.
Yeah. But you can like build your character now. Like, Destiny's always been an RPG light to me, but like I feel like now with a stronger focus on narrative and evolving world, and you can actually build your character, this is an RPG now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. This is what they wanted to do.
So much more customized.
Yeah, I feel like this was the original vision for Destiny, and it's taken so long to get here, but like it's been worth the wait.
Yeah. And if anything, I just want to hammer down one more point, is that there might be some people out there who might be like scared away by the price. It is $35, which understandably, if you look at that and say, like, I guess that makes sense. But it is to the point, this is an expansion that's going to be ongoing. And the stuff that we're talking about now, it's only the beginning, technically. And
plus the 35 gets you Season of the Undying. So you'll have access to the content for the next, I think it's 70 days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just something, you might take a look at that and be afraid of it, but understand that there's so much coming from the expansion. Not only that, but you already have access to the Battle Pass too, so you're going to get even more content than just the expansion itself. Like it is 100% worth it, because they're selling a promise, and not only all the content that you can get right away, but there's going to be even more coming, and there's a natural progression to it, that it's not just a self-contained DLC that you can just kind of play through once and then you have to wait a month for the next one to come out or whatever. It's going to continue to progress, and it's going to be worthwhile sticking to.
Yeah, I know we were saying like it's just the start and it's just the first chapter of the story, but like it's not like you have to pay for the next chapters. Like if you buy Shadowkeep, you're good for like the next few months until like the next season starts. So that's like the next big milestone, and you'll pay $10 for that. Like it's really not that much for what you're getting. I think the value proposition, because there's so much to do and you get so much in New Light for free.
Yep.
So like I feel like if buying into Shadowkeep right now it's a safe bet. Like you don't just get the short campaign when you buy it. Like that's just the beginning of what you're gonna get. Like it's gonna evolve in meaningful ways, I think, over the course of the season. And I'm excited to jump in the raid, not just for like the gameplay, but I want to see, because Shadowkeep ended on a cliffhanger. I want to see what happens. For the first time in Destiny history, I'm like excited to see where the story goes.
Yeah. I just wanted to find out about those damn ships, and now I still don't know what's going on with those ships, but at least they're leading into it
up
now.
On story threads that they teased earlier. Finally, like we're gonna confront the darkness. Like we're gonna go to the Black Garden. Like
I mean, it's the first time. Yeah, it's the first time where you can actually kind of feel like you're progressing towards something rather than it's a beginning and an end. You know.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for this.
I'm so excited.
And this is the most I've played Destiny 2 in quite some time. Like Diego said, I would log in and do some strikes, do some farming, and then go, okay, I'm done. Yeah. Not anymore. I was like, I want to play. Ever since Forsaken, I just want to play.
I love how everybody's coming in with New Light, and I love how it's starting to feel like a living, breathing world.
Yeah, and I think they understand that it's very much Destiny 1 vibes. It feels like something completely brand new, and not only that, but it's going into something that's going to evolve even more. It feels like an experience that's brand new, and it's like you can expect so much more to come now. Like it's just it's super exciting. Like the prospects of how this is going to go, it's going to be great. Everyone should jump in if they have the chance to. For sure.
The only thing I didn't like about Destiny 2 Shadowkeep is launch day when everybody was jumping on. It's like you logged in, you got in, it kicked you off. You logged in, you did something, it kicked you off. Or if you couldn't log in, you were put in this queue. I don't know how many times I was in the queue. It was like, you are now 15,000, then 12,000. Then 18,000. Like, wait, what? It's not supposed to go backwards. It's supposed to progress forward.
It's been pretty smooth since then. Like after
I've had a couple issues. I had a couple issues today.
Perfect.
But yeah, it's gotten better.
Yeah.
I did have like a few solitary issues, but other than that, it's been great. Like I had some like weird friendsless thing. That was pretty much.
Oh yeah, there was a bug where like if you had a lot of friends, your game would like crash.
Yeah, well, my game didn't crash. It was just so much like some people wouldn't show at all, and I had to like.
Oh yeah, we were having that when
remove and re-add them, and then it worked fine. It was really weird, but other than that, there's been like no issue. It's been
but
solid.
some minor things like that are to be expected when you have not only a huge expansion launching, but also a free-to-play influx of players.
Yeah. Also, this is definitely an isolated issue, but my game unpacked for so long. I preloaded this thing and I was ready to go, and I went to go launch it, and it was just like unpacking, and I had to wait hours. I don't know what
hours. Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. I
know it's like massive because you have Destiny 2 and all the expansions, but like
I had to delete like my download queue and out of Steam, and then it actually worked. Wow. But it even then it still took a while. I was like,
that's buggy.
This is obnoxious. But
I also want to speak to the crossplay, cross save here, because I've been jumping back and forth between PlayStation 4 and PC. No hitches, nothing. It's been seamless. Like there's not even any platform exclusive gear, so like everything just works.
Perfect.
I don't even have Shadowkeep on PC. Like I played the story on a PS4. I can still patrol the moon because it's free with New Light. Like if I want to do like Nightmare Hunts or any like the Shadowkeep specific or like the raid, I'll have to do on PS4. But like doing my strikes, doing Crucible, my bounties, getting my powerful engrams, I can do it on PC. Like it's so seamless. And my season pass transfers too, so that's nice. I can work on my battle pass and everything. Really great addition. I love that they did that.
Yeah.
Now just give us cross-play.
I'm super hopeful.
Man, and once Stadia drops too, I'm gonna have that. Like just play in class.
I don't think I'm gonna play it on Stadia though. I don't think I'm gonna play it on Stadia.
I can run the Nightfall in class. I'm playing this on Stadia.
I don't know if that's too helpful with the grades and all, but okay.
But the Nightfall, my light level.
Just do it in your non-major classes. That's what I did.
Man, that's such a good game.
Yeah, I think we can end on a positive note saying Destiny 2 Shadowkeep has been a long time coming, and I can't wait to see where Bungie goes next. I'm very vested in the game again, as the last couple of days have shown. I don't think I'll be done anytime soon. And I will get all 100 levels of that damn battle pass.
Oh yeah, for sure. Me too. I'm
getting all of them.
I already made such huge progress. I only just got it recently. I'm already on like 3 or 4 or something. I don't know. I barely even put any time into it, and I've still got so much progress. So
you know what's gonna be funny when I go back and play this game? My Titan is gonna be a higher light level than my Warlock because of the exploit.
Yeah.
Like, how?
Oh,
Why?
man.
And I gotta go do it before Bungie goes, oh, hey, this shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just do that.
Yeah, they're gonna fix that loot cave real quick.
Yeah, they are. Hey, Luke K 2.0, but only for Titans.
Yeah.
And only when Warlocks do it.
I went to see Xur because Xur's on Nessus this weekend, and I did my isochronal engram, or my faded engram, which gives you an exotic you don't have. And of course, I pulled one of the exotics they're disabling for the raid tomorrow. I pulled the arms, the Ahamkara Greaves. Oh man, it's of course that's the one I get is the one I can't use tomorrow.
Well, you're not in the raid. Us right there disabled for everything though. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only 24 hours though. I thought.
Because that
Yeah.
1-2 punch, that 1-2 with those graves on a Titan is that shit. Oh, that's broken. That shit is broken.
I understand, but it's like just my luck to get.
You
out of
can
all the
kill.
exotics I don't have.
You can kill an elite with a hit, one freaking hit. Come on, yeah, that's completely broken.
Yeah.
No wonder they want that stuff disabled. Yeah, but I will be. Well, actually, I got stuff to do in the morning, but I will be watching the raid. It'll be interesting to see how this happens because raids are always interesting, especially when I used to raid a lot in World of Warcraft and how many times we bang our head against the wall trying to figure out strategies and whatnot. This is going to be interesting, if anything, just to see the garden.
Oh yeah, that's a great environment, I think.
Yeah,
for the raid.
Yeah.
and I want to see what happens after they beat it. Does it do some worldwide thing for everybody in the game?
Like the Curse of the Dreaming City for the Last Wish raid? Oh, I hope so. Probably the Vex Offensive.
That'd be nice.
That's what's going to kick it off. Man, I can't wait to see what happens. Like, I'm. It's so weird for me to say that about Destiny, but
gotta
man,
watch tomorrow. Watch tomorrow and see what happens. All right, folks, we're gonna sign out. Leave on that positive note, but recap: do not buy.
Do not
Ghost
buy
Recon
Ghost Recon
Breakpoint.
Breakpoint. Stay far away.
Buy Destiny 2
Do not
instead.
friends don't let friends buy Ghost Recon Breakpoint. All right.
He said he'd rather let you buy Anthem and play that than play this game.
At least
Which is
Anthem's
saying
like
something.
$10. Get a decent campaign with that.
That's still
Yeah, that
kinda
game
really
dropped
high.
so bad.
That's a little high for Anthem, I think. Still,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you can fly like Iron Man. It's worth it.
Glide
Quite
Destiny.
similar.
It's the same thing. I swear.
Or don't buy Destiny. It's free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's free.
Just play.
How
Destiny.
about that? It's freaking free.
Just play
All right,
anything
folks.
that's not Breakpoint.
We are out of here. Have a good night or a good morning whenever you're listening to this thing. Take care.